Let's see if Jeff, I wrote to Jeff. Let's see if he will join soon. So we wait 2 more minutes.
Sounds good.
So I'm just going to mention, if you see me disappear, I have another meeting that starts in about a half hour or a little thereabouts. So
I also need to leave early, but
After the meeting, we will send
Natalie.
the link.
Natalie, did you say you have a New York kitchen, or are you in New York?
no, I said I had a New York kitchen.
Oh, okay.
I'm in a New York state of mind, honey.
Yeah,
There we go.
it's hard to get out of that.
I don't want to get out of it.
Well, it took me a few years to get used to not walking down the street and looking behind me. That was one thing I inherited from New York.
you just grow eyes behind your head.
Yeah, that's how you teach.
I use my proprioception.
Right.
Yeah. And proximity.
David has to do that with waves. You're muted.
Wind and rain
Wind and rain and waves, ocean waves.
and snow.
I was saying that, yeah,
Oh,
a lot
God,
of
don't
times
get into snow.
I have to see if I've got bears behind me when I'm walking around
Oh.
here.
Oh,
That's
But it's a nice, I prefer that to the city for sure.
Nicholas, I love your cat up there.
It's a new exploration for her.
So Bill, are you an orchid collector?
So I inherited a family of orchids behind me.
That's gorgeous. Very
They-
impressive.
No, this was the person who had the office before me had all the orchids, and she said they are now yours. So yeah, I've adopted them, but they all bloomed like the last 2 weeks. So they won me over. They're here to stay.
Okay, I think we are almost, everyone is here, not Jeff. Super early for Jeff, it's like 7 in the morning, but he used to wake up early always and take out the dog and all of this. But do you hear something from Jeff, Bill?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I'll check.
Bueno, let's start, I think. Well, hello everyone. I feel a little bit shy with all of you, like all of you know each other. And I don't know any of when I know Susana and I know Juan, but in person, but the others no. But yeah, I'm super happy to be here, trying to organize things and move forward with things. We had very nice meetings with Bill, with Jeff, with Owen, with Winnie. Winnie was was appointed to be the secretary, but she finally had to stop because it was I think too much with the English and also time difference. So Winnie, I don't know if you want to say hello or something. Winnie is in Taiwan. And we had our first meetings and it's like 10 in the night there. And then you feel a little bit, I don't know, like it was too much, no, Winnie? So you decided to, maybe it's better that another person is the secretary.
I think it's the problem about the region, and I think my English not very fluently. So I think because secretary needed to very fast to make some notes and meeting minute. So for me, it's a lots of a burden. because I tried to the pre-meeting with Jeff and Mariana. So I think I'm not suitable for the secretary. I needed to say very, very sorry about it. So please forgive me.
No worries.
We understand.
Yeah.
No, I think it's very honest from your part to you know to make the decision. So thank you about that. I mean, it's not nice to say no to something, and so but you did it very well. So now the secretary spot is free. So we need someone. So we will also, when we are going to send an email to everyone and with the meeting and all of this and the information, and we will ask if someone want to be the secretary. But maybe some of you already want to be the secretary. Bueno, we will send the email and we will see which people say that are interested. Okay. And yeah, well, first I would like to say that it's a little bit weird to be the president of this, but you know, when during the last, like, I would say 2 years that I was more involved, meeting more often Jeff and Bill and with the conference and doing the Instagram and all of this, Jeff was insisting like, Maria, you have to be the president. And I was like, no, I don't know anything about this association. I'm in Europe. No, but this association has to be international and you are doing a lot and you are very active. So I think you are the person, think about it. And then, well, we kept talking about this. And after a while, I was like, okay, maybe it's a good idea because I don't know if you know, but I'm having a pretty alternative life. I'm living in this van. This is a van.
Nice.
This is my house. And I'm freelancing. So, well, you know, I have time. I'm doing a lot of projects. So I'm pretty busy, but I felt that it was, you know, like a good moment to take this responsibility and to try to build some ideas and some dreams that I have. And yeah, and then it was so nice to also to be with Bill because we also met before a few times. And yeah, so then it was like, okay, let's say yes and let's see what can I do. And then I feel, oh my God, why I say yes, but here I am. And I will try to do my best. So now we move to Europe and Spain, and I think it's nice. Also, I have a lot of contacts and networks. So I hope I can bring more people to the organization. And well, let's see. So this first meeting is just to share ideas that we have been talking. Yes, so that's a little bit introduction about how I feel in this meeting. And well, first of all, thank you for all this, all the work that all of you have done. Suzanne, you were the president, and also I'm confused with Robert. You were also the president. Who was the president of the? Rob.
Yes, Rob and I have been president.
Exactly. Jeff also did a great job the last years with the website, and you know, everyone is giving something to this organization, and so yeah, I really appreciate all of the things that you have done these 30 years. And yeah, so now Owen, I say Owen because in Sweden we say Owen, but it's Owen. Owen is the treasurer, and Bill is the vice president. Yes, and then we have the secretary that we need to fill. Yes, and I hope Jeff will join. That's a pity. Yes, well, the first thing, as you know, that we have that there is a conference in Glasgow. So who is coming? Susanne and Queenie, Bill, Owen. That's it. Yes. So we are already very excited about this meeting. Juan also is coming to the meeting. He will give a lecture about the Spanish music. Spanish music for dance. And Bill and I, we will present the organization and the ideas. And I think as we think about it, it's like a presentation to get feedback from people, you know, to open a space, to speak, and to present our ideas. Susan will present the history of the association. Yeah, we will have only 45 minutes. So I think it will
Oh, 45 minutes. Okay, that's good. I didn't know that. So
yeah, we were
the
thinking,
history of the guild. In
yes,
5
It's going to
minutes.
be
It'll be an
super
interpretive
fast.
dance with music.
exactly. You will have 10 minutes, Susan, and then we will have 15 minutes. And then we think that another 15, 20 minutes to
Okay.
speak with people. We will have a meeting about it, of course, next week. So yeah, so we will keep you updated about the conference. I don't know if it's going to be recordings about the lectures. I haven't checked. Do you know, Bill or Susan, if they are going to?
Usually Cristiano recorded everything, but
Okay.
I don't know what Karen's plans are.
Okay, well, we will see after the conference. Yes, and okay, I continue. You want to say, I mean, you can interrupt, eh? I'm just trying to be effective. Bill, you want to say something?
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited. I haven't been to this conference since I think 2018. But no, this is really exciting. I'm really grateful that Karen was able to get permission to host and bring everyone together again. And yeah, I'm excited to see, you know, hopefully there's a good turnout the year that I went. I think Suzanne, Jeff, and others, GT, were at this, so I'm hoping to make acquaintance of some other musicians. And Mariana, you've done an amazing job connecting people virtually, so I'm looking forward to meeting people in person.
And about your role as a vice president?
Oh, so official. Yeah, no, I think some things I'm excited or looking forward or wanting, and maybe Mariana, I'm jumping the gun on this, but yeah, just how to stay connected, and part of, I think, at this conference, opening it up just to the needs. I'm curious, having a very international presence in the room. I'm curious, you know, in part of our presentation, to open it up and see what is it like from different perspectives. What is life as a dance musician right now? What does it look like in the future? What do we need, kind of as a global community? How are we doing? Are we surviving? Are we hanging in there barely? Are we thriving? Or what does the future look like? So yeah, I think, and Mariana and I were talking recently about ways that we can stay active more, you know, what can the guild provide that's different than just the Facebook groups, the Instagram groups, things like that. And we have some plans that are more, I think, formalized, whether it's sharing of having a calendar, and every once in a while there's a lecture. I love the world. This did not exist when I started learning how to play for dance with Suzanne. You know, this was only, Suzanne, when did I meet you? 2009. But there was the Harriet Cavalli book, and I was lucky to have Suzanne in person, obviously as a mentor. But now there's so much as far as resources, just even watching and hearing and seeing. And of course, some books like Karen McIver's ebook. She has a couple of those which are helpful. But that's been the most eye-opening to me, is to see and watch other people play class, and just really learning from that way. So I think that's something. I know it's not the easiest when students are involved in permission and things like that, but kind of like a live stream of a class, or maybe record the class as well, and maybe something, you know, in a way to and I love having conferences, and I think there's always a big push of energy that we can all feel when we get together, especially if it's in person or even the virtual conference. I actually really enjoyed the virtual conference that JD organized. But I'm hoping for ways that we can interact more often throughout the year. And I think for better or for worse, I think virtually is going to be the way to do it, especially if we're really honoring an international group of people.
Yeah. Yeah, our question has been like, okay, what can we offer with this organization? You know, like what dance musicians are missing, what we could build, you know, around this organization. And because now the online possibilities has exploded, so everything is possible now online, which is very good in one way. Yeah, we were thinking to do this, to stream live classes. So maybe like to have maybe 1 or 2 live classes. We have to discuss how to do it, because one option is just to put the computer and to see the dance class with the musician, just stream this. Other option is to record the class. So imagine that I stream my class, I record the class, and then I show it in a meeting to all of you, and I make comments and we have a discussion. We have to see that, you know, so we can see each other playing, because it's what we miss, and it's where we learn and get inspired a lot. And the other thing that we want to do is to offer lectures about anything, of course, connected with dance and music in all the formats, like the conference, you know. So we will, in the email that we are going to say, we are going to explain this and to all the members, and see who wants to join this, who would like to stream the a dance class, or maybe we were talking also with Bill, like maybe a music class for dancers, which is also a big subject that it has been a lot in the discussion, like how do we teach music to dancers. So yeah, all this, we will open to all of these ideas. Let's see what we have back, and we will start to organize something. Yes, tell us.
I have an idea that just popped into my head. There's an organization called Music for Change, and they take a song and they record it with people. It's mixed with people all over the world playing different verses of the song, and something similar with a plie exercise where different people were playing for the exercise. And then, so because for me, seeing a whole class with just one musician is very instructive, but it's almost like you would have to do that with many musicians to finally have a conversation that would be meaningful, to see what different people do. Or that may just be a next step, but I wanted to just interject that, because it's very, I find it incredibly inspiring and gives lots of ideas.
How is it called? Music for Change.
Yes, it's called Music for Change. I think that's the name of it.
It's called Playing for Change.
Playing for Change. Thank you.
Yeah.
Playing for Change. It's on a YouTube group. And they're mixing the same song in the same key, and it's very impressive, but we wouldn't be doing that. But the idea of having people from all over the world playing the same exercise.
They create a video and they put it on YouTube.
Yes.
That sounds good. That's a good idea.
I mean, it's a lot of tech. I mean, you need a lot of tech support to do it, and it wouldn't be the same because we're not playing the same song. So it would be a version of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just interject something quick? One of my research projects at Ohio State when I was there was, and Rob was part of this project. I videotaped a class with the teacher doing the counts and the combination, and I sent it to people around the country, and had them play to it. And it was astounding to see the different interpretations of that video. And then I did it the other way around. I sent them music out and had teachers compose or create movement combinations to it. So it had kind of a two-prong focus to it, but the primary focus was to take a movement combination and send it to people and see what they came up with. It was pretty cool. Steve Rush blew my mind, and Rob did too. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I just was going to add that when we've done those, we've called them round robins, where there's one teacher and several musicians do their interpretation of the same combination. And that has always been one of the most enjoyable activities we've done in the conferences.
And they do that, at the Corpo nel Suono, but they call it piano circus. And have three pianists or three musicians. And what was extraordinary about those is that they do the exercise and flip to the other side, and the musicians seamlessly take over playing for the exercise. Is quite extraordinary.
We sometimes do that.
What?
We sometimes do that when several of us get together for the same class.
Right.
We've had one piano, 6 hands at times.
Right. But to be able to have an online discussion about why did you choose this music, or what inspired you to create this, I think it would be a very exciting thing to have. And if it's on YouTube, then people can put comments, to comment on it or what they observed.
Exactly.
I think it's a great idea.
The only thing we need to be careful is always about the permission with the dance students or with the professional dancers.
Right.
It's always tricky, and with the teacher. So
Well, it could be a closed YouTube.
Yeah,
group,
exactly.
Or available only for members.
Exactly.
But even so, I can't post anything with students and make it available for people.
Even if it's for this organization. So if you say like it's a dance musician organization, it's for educational or it's
I don't know. I usually just keep it quiet and I share some things.
I think if it's under the heading of a research project, I think you can get general clearance. I don't remember having a problem with that. Do you, Rob? Of course, this is 25, almost 25 years ago, so I don't know.
And you wasn't on the internet.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
No, no, it was closed.
Right.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Well, it's always the logistics to ask for permission and know that everything is fine, explain the purpose, and that's it. For example, I'm playing now in Sevilla 2 months in one place, and I ask for permission, and they say like if it's only for this group, for a private group, is fine.
So you'd have to have a mini conference where you had selected classes all over the world from our groups we knew that would give that permission, and then go from there.
Exactly. And then we need to check. I mean, we will do it once and we see if it's interesting or no. I mean, it's just something that we want to try out.
I wonder, along with what Natalie said, maybe an entire class, although it's helpful, it's long. And I'm thinking just realistically, who's going to, how do you schedule that another hour and a half in your life to do something?
You would do bar one day or slow bar one day, yeah.
No, I love the idea of having a recording of the exercise and hearing the teacher's voice in the demonstration. That would be very interesting and helpful to me to see and hear. Almost like you could post something every month, a new type of exercise. Maybe, this is a fun dégagé combination, a type of pirouette. Maybe the not so easy things, maybe something that's at a deathly slow tempo. And it's like, what the heck how do I play for this? And that would be neat to see, who chimes in, who sends in a recording. And then that's more, I would have more time to do that. I would actually be able to watch, oh, it's a couple minutes I can.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing is with edition. Edition always takes a lot of time. And getting material from different people is, bueno, we will see. It's just an idea. Yes, Rob?
Okay to dream.
I was just thinking, you know, Bill was saying it would be nice to hear the teacher's voice. I say that every time I play for some people because I can't hear them, because they hardly speak loud enough for you to hear. And I mean, it's just gotten worse and worse. You know, there's a lot of listening to what the body's doing, which often contradicts what the mouth is saying.
Rob, do you mean they're like intentionally not speaking, or are they not comfortable? Like
no, it's just
or?
Their habit. Yeah, their habit is to either just say numbers without any other information coming through their voice. And there's a lot of inconsistency more than ever.
But if we had someone like someone from U of A, always in the video, you know, maybe there's a dance teacher that is interested in this as a research project or a, you know, something that would be helpful to them in terms of their 10-year process. We could have consistently the same people in the same classes.
I have friends and teachers here that I know would be willing, especially if it was something that was in the guild website. You know, they would be more than happy to record demonstrations. I don't know if it could be set up in a way where maybe, you know, there's a section on the website that has that video, and then people can just upload to that directly, like them playing for it. Whatever it could be. I'm not the most tech savvy, but if there's a way to make that easy and user friendly.
Could somebody qualify, what did you mean by getting permission? You get, what's the problem with that?
If something is put up on any of this streaming apps,
And different.
we have to have,
Sorry.
we just have to have the students sign a release form that they give their permission for this to be shown.
Well, that should be easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's just checking with the director of the school or with the, you know, with the teacher. And it's just, okay, I want to do this for a dance musician organization, is for educational purpose or whatever, and check. But sometimes they can say, I don't know, it's not possible to record, even for any reason.
And it's gotten to the point where we have to ask higher ups for permission like this too. So I don't even know who to ask at this point.
Yeah, oftentimes with facilities or things like that. Yeah.
But it is possible. It is, you know, you just find out who to ask.
Exactly. I asked
there's,
and I
can't remember what it's called, human
resources.
Human subject.
IRB.
There's a human subject committee that would review it and determine, or could, that's what I'm thinking.
That's a whole process. And I don't know if we have to go through that. I have to do that for other projects that I do. And this is not, we're not doing anything to them. They're just going to be in the picture.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not a study or anything, and they're not.
But the faculty member, if it was a faculty member doing it for research for their tenure portfolio or whatever, they would have to do that on their own for whatever they were doing. So it might not cover the whole thing.
I'll see about that.
Yeah.
I will try to just speak through the people involved in the studio and check if it's okay, is for this, yes or no. If it's no, sorry, suppose we have to, I mean, you have to try in another place, or maybe another people will do it. I'm going to share with you a link of a YouTube video that Heavy Piano, I don't know if you know Heavy Piano. He has a big YouTube channel, and he shared at one point a ballet class. He was playing, and he put the camera pretty far, so you can see the dancers and the teacher marking, and then he wrote what he was thinking, and it's
Wow.
Oh, I think I've
yes.
seen this. Yeah, I've seen this.
Because that's also another option, to record the class and then write the comments.
Mhm.
Mariana, I think. Oh, sorry. You had a. I think you had a video, one of your videos where you went back and you edited and you put little words like bubbles of what you were thinking while the teacher was demonstrating, and and that's how, one, it's cathartic.
Yeah.
But it's also helpful, especially for someone who's new to playing for dance, and they're hearing the teacher's voice, and then to see your thought process and how, sometimes we change our mind in a matter of seconds, and really big changes, and to see why, and maybe like, or even like World Ballet Day, how they sometimes they have commentators. It'd be fun to have. Maybe that would be a project for a bigger recording, a full length class or something, but to have the pianist and someone else, be able to talk over, not over it, but in and out of why, like hear inside their head of what they were thinking, what cued them in at that moment, why did they change that, I think is, I like to geek out about stuff like that. I would like to see, hear something.
I think also we can do it in different ways. We don't need to find one way of sharing this. Maybe I feel comfortable doing like in this video, or maybe another person is comfortable just streaming the class with no comments, or maybe another person, or maybe another person is like, oh, I have a teacher that I really want to do this thing with one exercise, for example, and I will play different options, and I want to share my thoughts about this. We have to see what people, like now, like you have different ideas how to approach this. So I think we can try everything and see. It would be great, even though, to have everything on YouTube for our members, because that's the thing, like we are trying to get new people, but the problem is that what we are offering. I mean, we are offering the journal that it was done a long time ago, and then the discussion that is interesting, but it's a discussion at the end, and then we don't have anything else, if I'm right. So that's one thing that we want to try to have content, like when someone arrives to the organization, it's like, oh wow, Natalie is playing this class, oh Mariana is, oh Juan is I want to check the lecture of Rob, I want to, it's like, and then you have different things. So this is our goal. Yes, Rob.
You're just making me think about different possibilities, and it might be nice to be working towards having a collection of shorter combinations. Like, instead of the whole class, there can be a category for pliés, there can be a category for tanda, there can be a category for different things, and we just collect videos and we put them in their appropriate places, and they could have any of the things that we've all just been talking about, whether it's comments or places for comments, and it becomes a growing resource.
A library.
A library, yeah. Even, different teaching approaches. How do you teach different concepts?
Or how does the teacher present it?
How does a teacher present it? Yeah. I mean, I lately I've been just working with dancers, not even, I mean, just taking one combination and saying, okay, well, what if we try it this way? What if we try it this way? And what if we change the meter? And I'm not even playing the piano or any music for it usually. I'm just having them vocalize how it would change from their perspective. Because that's the biggest thing, they just don't know how to listen to their own bodies and communicate what they're doing a lot of times. So it's kind of a self-discovery process rather than a teaching process.
So Rob, you're talking about, excuse me, Rob, you're talking about working more with the dance teachers then, right? I mean, we haven't really talked about that. We were talking about members of our guild.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's a whole separate and important goal of the guild in the past has been to educate dancers as well. And that's what seems to be dying a lot.
Right.
And then causing problems for the accompanists down the road.
Right, that's why I'm doing it.
I wonder,
So it's like, Mariana, it's an ongoing discussion, you know, how much of each do we want to do as the guild and can we do now that budgets are cut and all kinds of things going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful, you know, it's not, or it'd be interesting if I were a teacher maybe reading the comments from the musician to find out what was the cue or why, you know, not that these videos will be a manual on how to demonstrate or whatnot, but just to hear from the musician's perspective, you know, what was it that the reasoning, if people, you know, sent in a recording, they could, if there was a little dialogue or just a little statement of what the cues were for them.
Good. Well, there are a lot of ideas, which is great. Yeah, you know, I'm very practical always. I'm trying to save time because we get lost very easy. I think we need to start with something, you know, because it's difficult to record videos. It's difficult to, you know, get a good sound, put a camera, blah, blah. I mean, the logistics for documenting things is difficult, as we know. So I think I would encourage everyone independently to create something, you know, okay, Rob, no, you have this idea about, you know, exchanging information with the teacher. Okay, maybe create a 5-minute video, like, I don't know, you know, like different people have different point of views and how to show what we do every day in the studio. So, you know, start from something and then we need to see how we can put it on YouTube and then see from there, I think. You know what I mean? Like,
That's very practical. I like it.
So feel free to ask the people that you work with, like, okay, you know, we have this idea that we want to share information and we want to get inspired with each other and we want to create content. So I would like to record this class with you. Can we do it one day? Yes, or no, how you know? And then, okay, I'm going to read the comments. So I'm going to ask the organization if I can make a lecture with this video, you know, like, feel free to come with your ideas and we will try to find a way how to put it on YouTube for the members. Yeah.
I was just, I wanted to feed into something that Bill was saying when he started talking a while back. Because the field itself has changed a lot, and I mean there are musicians in dance that aren't pianists. There are musicians working with dance that aren't even playing classes, you know, that kind of thing. And people's careers have gone in numerous different paths. I was just thinking that it might be interesting, especially because the listserv has gotten so sort of dead, that a general sort of question going out, of how are you doing? What, you know, where are you at in your career? How has it changed? I think would be really, really interesting because, I mean, you know, those of us who started, like, you know, many years ago, you know, sometimes we talk about how this field now is almost unrecognizable from what, you know, where it was when we started. I mean, certainly in my case, it changed just incredibly. And I'm just really curious, you know, we're hearing about, you know, faculty jobs being eliminated. You know, we've gone through different stages where the role of the composer working with dance has changed so much, and collaboration, that kind of thing. I'm just wondering if there was some just some way that some general input from people, just where did you start, where are you at, what are the changes you've seen, might be an interesting way to open up a lot more dialogue and make the listserv, which is essentially 90% of what the guild seems to be now, make it a little bit more interesting.
And how would you proceed with this idea? How, like?
Well, I mean, I think I think that a lot of time, I guess I'm thinking more in the past, there used to be more sort of discussion and, some sort of topical discussion that would there'd be a thread on the listserv and people would have different input. Now when when there's nothing happening for months at a time, and then somebody, there's a random email, somebody asking for the score to the second movement of some ballet score or something like that, and then that's it. I don't know exactly what the question could be, or questions, and whether or not I want to receive everybody's life story, in my mail. But it would be nice to just see how people's careers have gone. What are they doing now, and where that kind of thing. So a general question, or maybe a way to submit things to the website without having to get a deluge of emails would be nice.
Something like maybe like a Google form or something like that, where it might even have a limit to the number of characters that people could do, and just have put out a questionnaire to the current members. We also have email addresses for people who were former members, and that's another way to kind of like maybe involve people back in the discussion. So yeah.
I think your idea is super good, Rob. To maybe we could do a film, like make like this recording meetings, and make the same interview to everyone, and then we have a short, like 10-minute video, something like this. No, that would be fun, no? And
even just say on this day, anyone that's available, if you want to come and just talk about this topic, and we can have short topic discussions that we video on Zoom, and we stay focused, and those could be really interesting.
I think you're all amazing to have such a rich history. I want an interview of all of you. I want to know I do want your whole life story, but I wonder if that could be, if it's a two-pronged thing. Maybe there's something, like what David was saying, maybe there's something smaller on where people can write in, and just a current check-in. Where are you now in your career? What's, big changes? What are you doing? Like a check-in people can write into a prompt, but then another project kind of preserving the history.
I think that's Jeff. Jeff has that kind of on the back burner that he wants to do. He wanted to do kind of like a podcast idea, but however the format works out, I think that's something he's pretty
well. Bill Moulton started doing that. Bill Moulton started doing that, and has a wonderful interview somewhere in the data base that we have of Bill Moulton interviewing Marge DeLewis, and he was a wonderful interviewer, and
John Coleman too, right?
Yes, and John Coleman. Yes, that's correct.
And Nikolai.
And where is this?
That's a good question. It's at NYU somewhere. They're in the archives. Bill had a podcast radio program for a while, and those interviews were pretty awesome. They were actually incredible. I don't know how to access those.
I have the Marjorie stuff.
I
that
have the
could be
Nikolai.
uploaded.
Do you have the
Also-
Nikolai one, Rob? Oh my God. I'd like to
Also,
see that. Send me the link.
years ago in my research class, I had a lofty goal of documenting the women who were in our field. Natalie, were you part of that?
I think, yes, I was.
Yeah, I think you were.
I
And my students were assigned women in the field and did interviews and research on them. And I never turned it into an ebook, but maybe it's time for me to go back to that and put that together.
Yes.
I have to go. I'm just going to jump in for a second. I have to go to another meeting, but I just want to say that I'm interested in helping facilitate whatever is going to come out of this, because I think it's interesting to me.
It's life-saving.
But I like the discussion. One of the things that really we noticed back when we first got together was when we get together and share what we're all doing, it's really, and it just is so helpful. And I think even at this point, you know, all these years later, it will also be helpful, not just to us, but to others. So rather than the individual people talking, I like the exchange. There's something that's really very wonderful about how we interact with each other, and how, especially as our memories are going out the window.
Exactly. I think we could do like 2-3 weeks and speak only about this.
I need to get going as well, and I just wanted to say I'm glad to be here and glad to do the treasure stuff, working on that, and I'll probably have more to report when we get together next time. So
okay,
bye, great seeing everybody. Thanks for doing this, Marianne, and everyone.
Thanks so much.
Take the meeting later because we are going to speak about another important subject. Okay.
Hey, Andy, play something for us.
Sorry?
Andy Hassenflug.
Hey.
Andy's in the studio.
No, we cannot hear you. Okay, good. I wrote down all the ideas. So it's just to do it, you know, because it's very easy to speak like, oh, let's do this, but then it's like, okay, how do I do it? And I know from my YouTube videos, like it looks so easy. It looks so like, oh, so easy, and it's so much work and decisions. Well, you know all of this, but sometimes we forget. So yes, feel free to, okay, I speak with this teacher, I record the class, or I speak with these musicians and we record this exercise in different ways. We record it and we send it to Mariana, to Bill, to whoever is in charge of this, and we put it on YouTube, you know? It doesn't need to be super professional, but let's try that we have a good picture and a good sound, kind of. But now all the computers and mobiles record good quality sound and video, so. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, let's continue. The other thing that we wanted to speak about in this meeting is the name of the guild. As I know, it has been always a discussion about this because it's complicated to find a good name. I mean, I can speak from my experience, from my point of view. Since I arrived to this, I'm always confused with the names. Even today, I was checking one thing and I was like, how is international musician dance music in, where is the I and where is the G, you know? So even that now I'm reading a lot about this and I'm checking the website and all of this, is very difficult to remember the name. And then another problem is the word guild, that I know the philosophy of the group is very connected with this word. And I understand, but for non-native English speakers, the word guild is very confusing because we don't know it. We have to check what does it mean, you know, and then you forget what does it mean, guild. And as we want to make this organization very international, from people from Asia, from South America, from Russia. Well, Russia, I don't know if they will want to join, but any from any country, you know, from, you know, Bulgaria, like European countries that they don't have a good level in English. You know, I was thinking, and I was speaking with, we had a meeting about this with more people, and you know, like, we need a name that is very, is connected very fast with who we are and what we want, you know. So just to make it easy, you know, that you see the word, and then you see the title of the organization, and then you are like, ah, okay, I remember them. I don't need to memorize how is the order of the words, or how is the logo, or what does it mean, guild, you know. And our idea, it was to have the name Dance Musicians, because it's something that all of us, we like. I mean, when Jeff was saying hi in all the emails, like, hey, dance musician, it's like, I think all of us, we feel like, you know, like warm inside. It's like, yes, I'm a dance musician. I'm part of this community. So Dance Musicians International is the name that we were thinking, because it's what it is, Dance Musicians International, because it's difficult. We were thinking about the word organization, association, guild, other words came out, and it's tricky with these words, like what do they mean. So that's our idea.
I'm curious to know what Huini thinks about that.
You know, because dance musician for me is very precise name, but about the long like international guild, for me is a more complex. Yeah. So
but do you like the idea of Dance Musicians International? Is that better for you to understand and relate to?
Yeah, because it's more short and more how to say, focus our career and what's kind of work we do. And yeah, because you know, English is not my native language, so I needed to more precise and more short term than I can find out on the network. Yeah, just let. Okay.
Thank you.
I just did a search, dance musicians, and it comes up in Wikipedia, and it's dance musicians for electronic dance and DJs. And so there's confusion there with this idea of dance musicians. We've had this discussion long time ago about the name as well. And there's this category of dance musicians. Like I played in a polka band right after high school, and we were dance musicians. You know, I mean, it's like people who aren't familiar with concert dance or contemporary dance or that sort of thing, they go to this thing, and the hot dance club songs, you know, is what comes up in Wikipedia. So it's when you start talking in a generic form like dance musicians, I don't know. It confuses people. It's like, whatever. What do you do? And I say to people, well, I'm a dance musician. Oh, what kind of dance do you play for? And I go, well, you know, modern dance, and I have to go through this whole thing. So there's problems with simplifying it, but I agree. I think that just in terms of accessibility for people, because if you don't get the right nomenclature, it sends you off into all kinds of other places, you know, in terms of being able to find a resource as a dance musician. So I just wanted to throw that out.
You know, aside from to me, when you change names, that also creates a whole other thing. There is somewhat of a legacy of 30 years plus of this organization having this name. But aside from that, I liked the idea of musicians in dance as opposed to us necessarily just sort of labeling ourselves as dance musicians, because some of us are other things too. I don't know if I want to be just, I don't know if I just want to be called a dance musician. I am a musician that comes from a legacy of a certain amount of artistry associated with concert dance forms and all of that happens to often be working within the field of dance. And that's just different from, somebody who does EDM, or I don't know. I'm worried that the change would cause as much confusion as it might help. And the idea, I remember Larry talking about the guild and the reason why we're called ourselves a guild, and it has certain associations of like some level of accomplishment and identification with sort of a broader purpose. Anyway, whatever. I'd be flexible about it, but I'm a bit skeptical about the advantages of changing versus the confusion and disadvantages of changing.
Well, could it be Musicians in Dance International?
Could be also. Or
MIDI.
international.
What?
MIDI.
MIDI. MIDI.
MDI, and just call MDI, Musicians in Dance International, MDI.
Musicians in Dance International, MIDI.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That was also the other subject, like what happened when you, how it's called in English, when you use the main characters, then you get into another problem.
Oh,
that's
what is that called? I can never remember it, and I speak English.
Yeah. Also, we were thinking, like, because the website is dancemusicians.org, and it's very easy to remember, dancemusicians.org, and also the dance musician is already in the name, International Guild of Musicians in Dance, no? With the in, but we don't have it in the main. We have IGMD. So yeah, I think it's nice what you say about musicians in dance, not dance musician, and also what Tom say, the dance musicians.
Right. I do know that Congress on Research and Dance, and what is that other group? There are two dance research groups that recently merged, and they changed their name. But people don't seem to be having trouble finding it or understanding what it is.
My concern is that we make a change too quickly and we don't have a little bit of time to, like what we're doing now is kicking it around, and I too have concern about the history of what musicians in dance means as opposed to dance musicians, because I get the same thing that people get. Oh, you play for polkas, or they don't say polkas. Nobody knows what that is anymore. But you know what I mean. They say stuff. Oh, you do, are you DJ or whatever. And yeah, so that concerns me, and I think there should be a fair amount of thought into it, as opposed to just changing it, with a vote. Or at this point, that we need to maybe kick it around and get some more input.
We were thinking.
I'm sorry. I do like the idea of simplifying it. That sounds good. But sometimes when you simplify, you lose meaning.
Yeah, but yeah, I get it. But also you find meaning through the way, it's like with so what I want to say, like sometimes we give a lot of importance, yeah, to a name, to like a reference, and then the reference is one thing. Then when you are inside of the group of the, like it can be we could have a weird name, like dogs in the lunch table, or whatever. I don't know. And then you understand, dogs in the lunch table are such a nice group because they do this and this. I'm exaggerating a lot, of course.
Well, I also must say that I love having an acronym like MIDI, because people will Google that and will come up somewhere down, maybe even the bottom of the first page, you know. And then they'll find out, oh, Musicians in Dance International, and what is that, and they find out we're ballet modern. We do other stuff too.
Okay.
It's like I think David was saying. I mean, I used to be in a casual band in LA in the Yellow Pages for years, and I played classical music with people. So we are not DJs, and that's my fear, is that people are going to think, or yeah. But
But one thing for Queenie, because you say dance accompanies. Yeah, also, but also what we want to cover in this organization is like also musicians composing for dance performance. Is the studio is a very big part of our job, but another part is creating music for performance, for shows, and also researching, so that's why
Yeah,
emphasis there.
and for me, I have accompanist is problematic for me because it becomes a secondary role. And when I was teaching, I made it abundantly clear that I was co-teaching with the teacher, because what I was doing with the music was teaching the dancers how to dance as well, you know, um, uh, and recognizing that it's not a secondary or subservient sort of position, that not only from a teaching perspective, but from an aesthetic perspective as well. So anyway, that was why we stayed away from the accompanist designation. At least that was my reason for staying away from that designation.
Well, in the field of piano, they no longer use the word accompanist. They use collaborative pianist.
Yeah. But I think in Asian, so mostly they still use this kind of describe. So needed to give more perspective to, kind of a revolution for them. Yeah. So that's why I go to the Scotland to learn more. Yep.
Just as another icebreaker for the current guild, as it is, I think this would be a really good topic to throw out there to the listserv. And first explain what your thoughts are about why you think it might be worth changing and your suggestions about that. But I think that just getting some of the input back, opening it up for, I think most people, including me, probably tend to be a little bit more cogent when we write rather than we just, spout things off. And I think that might just be an interesting conversation piece just to start and get some blood flowing,
Good. Yeah.
I like
No,
that.
it's helpful. It's helpful hearing even the conversation right now. I know when we first, people had mentioned the idea. Jeff had talked about, can we preserve the history of the name by not changing any words, but just eliminating words to simplify it. And if it felt, I was uncomfortable at first, and I'm not even a founding member of the guild. And so I was like, well, I think I think looking to, you know, looking to the guild moving forward, and if there's, I don't know if there's a way to even preserve both. Like, is there a way, you know, if a lot of the work is going to be done digitally, online, connecting people that way, especially trying to move forward and grow the guild, is having a, you know, a simplified, a shorter name, something easier that we can all connect with, whatever that be. Or is it possible to even have both? Is there something that on like an online way, whether people are searching online, whether it's on social media, whether it's the internet, you know, is there that name that brings people, and then maybe you open the website and it has, you know, the full name there, or I don't know.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was thinking too. Maybe it's just rearranging the words. So Musicians in Dance Guild International.
But sorry, but the word guild is very confusing for the non English
Yeah.
speaking. It's very confusing. It's like, what does it mean? You know, I know it collects the spirit of the association, and I understand why you choose it. But I think it's very it's difficult for, yeah.
You know, even musicians in dance is not that you know, I mean, if you cut out International Guild of,
Mm.
Mhm.
we're still musicians in dance.
Yeah.
And you know, not every association has to say we're an international also, you know. And I mean, then you'd at least you'd be keeping some of the some of the title we already have. That might be less confusing, you know. Musicians in dance, we're an international association of musicians working in blah 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 blah, you know, as a subtext, or as something that you know, explains who we are. But the complete explanation doesn't necessarily have to be in the title.
Yeah.
And again, it brings us back to why even change the title in the first place. And so for me, it's like, okay, it's, you know, internationally, I do want to be cognizant of bringing people, you know, because there's been so many discussions, and I know before my time, there's been hours and days I've heard of talking about in dance, or, you know, just very, and a lot of care and thought has gone into that. So I think to make any change, you know, there, I don't think that discussion needs to happen again. I think you guys have done plenty of a very, yeah, thoughtful discussion on that. I think if anything were to change, you know, why, again, what's the reason, and is it more because trying to connect and appeal easily and understood easily to people of any language, any country, knowing that most of this is going to be digital, it would be online. You know, it's a luxury to meet in person, but you know, most of that connecting is going to be on online platforms. So is there, yeah, I think that was the main push for that, is how do we connect and easily be recognized as something people can understand. But again, maybe that's more of just something short, you know, for that purpose, a digital purpose, and maybe, you know, then there's the explanation, the real title underneath that. I'm not sure.
Mm. I remember when the website was updated, it was so easy to remember. Dance musicians. It was very, you know, like it came super fast to my brain, you know. I mean, I tell you, even today, I don't know what I was writing, and I was like, how is the how is the order of the words? And I have written many times, you know. So maybe we could have a simple name, dance musicians or musicians in dance, and then like in the website, no, like, okay, you know, a international musicians in dance organization, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Musicians in dance. That's as simple as it gets.
Mm.
And dance musicians is too, you know, DJ. It's I don't know. That's just how I feel about it.
I have
Well, Norman, you've never seen me play a ballet class.
I have a feeling that you don't do DJ, but maybe you do. I don't know.
but
At some point, another
you-
discussion should be that, does an association like this want to be exclusive or open itself to what other people are doing? I mean, there are some people that are accompanying dance classes now as DJs, and there are electronic musicians, and then there are percussionists and that kind of thing. So I mean, I understand, the legacy and all that sort of stuff, but and I don't think we necessarily want this association to be mistaken for an organization of DJs and stuff like that. But I do think that it's unfortunate that everything is so sort of segregated in the way we view all these different activities under this larger roof of people working with movement-based art.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, everything is changing. I mean, I have seen ballet classes with electronic music.
Yeah. No, and that's part of the creativity, but there is just something different about. I mean, I know people who make money as DJs, and that's all they do. They don't play an instrument as well, and that's the part that I would feel strange about losing, because ultimately it could lose the origin.
But also filmmakers, like I couldn't do a film, 20 years ago, and now I can, so things are changing, and we have new possibilities, and now music is very, you can have a machine like this and make a hit, and everyone is dancing in a room. This is dance and music also.
Yeah.
I know historically the guild is it has been separate. We recognize that there's dance of all forms around the world and different ways to interact with it, but this is concert dance. But I do see how DJ, in a sense, almost has a negative connotation associated with that. But how do you, oh my gosh, when I saw Adam Crawley play at ADF, it blew my mind. And it's like, are we redefining what it is? What is a DJ? Maybe it's not this version of it. It's like, no, we're creating something. I'm still a trained musician influencing the room. I could see some parallels there, but is it still, I guess, separating it from the concert dance, I guess, aspect of it?
Yeah, that's, I guess, my ultimate, the nightmare is that we become, that the ballet and modern musicians get pushed out and it becomes something else. That's the fear. It may be uncorroborated, but.
Also, I'm curious too, David, kind of back to what you said earlier in the meeting. I'm very curious and concerned of kind of the health of our field, especially in the United States. And I'm curious, going to Il Corpo no Suono, I'm curious what it's like in different countries. What is it? What's the most prominent way to be a dance musician? How do schools incorporate music? How, is it mostly pianists? Is it open to percussionists and other musicians? Is there a lot of composition going on? And taking back to David, what you said, I'm very curious what is, I feel like we need a little check-in, a doctor. How's our health? How are we doing? Because it has changed a lot, even here in the United States. And I want to see how that's affected people, but also, keeping people who, and moving forward, like how are we needing to adapt and survive, essentially, and not just survive. I'm tired of surviving. I want to thrive. What does that look like? And I think I feel like it's something. I think that's the beauty of Mariana's influence, was how how many more musicians are out there that we just aren't connected, and making an easy way to build that community. And I think of how many, even in the States, how many companies, you know, I've now working here at the Houston Ballet, I'm like, wow, there are a lot of musicians at companies, you know, where is that divide with academia and the company musicians? I wish that was together. I wish, you know, that was more of a, maybe someone could speak more to that, but yeah, I'm trying to think of ways moving forward, how to, what does it look like, you know, in an ever-changing field, as you all know. Things have changed a
Yeah,
lot.
Bill, that's been a question we've been trying to answer for 30 some years.
Yeah, yeah.
How can we, what can we do for someone who's not in academia? You know, what can we do for those people that are playing for companies and studios that aren't associated with the university? And it's been a tough question to answer. You know, for them to come to a meeting is an expense. And then they miss work and don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I've been hitting up people. I've played for American Ballet Theater for quite a while, and I've mentioned it to pretty much every musician, and they still have a really quite a stable of really good musicians, some of whom can improvise, not many, but and then also I hit up the university musicians around, and they haven't, you know, and they're really good, you know, musicians, but for some reason they don't decide to join.
Well,
So
their question is, what's this going to do for me?
Well, I can address,
And
I'd like to
for
talk
me-
about that, Suzanne.
Yeah, 1 second. But for me, part of being a part of this organization is the thing we're doing right here.
Yeah,
It's a sense of community and the ability to talk about our field. Tom?
When I was at the Perpich Center for Arts Education, it was a faculty position, and they were going to eliminate my position. And I asked Larry Attaway and I believe Alan Terciano to write a letter for me in support of my work at the Perpich Center. And I'm telling you, it made a big difference. They did keep my position, and I was on for another couple of years until things got real crazy. But I do know that if there is a body of professionals like we are, and with these university programs that are being cut so drastically all over the country, like music director positions like Suzanne's had and John Toges has, if we work, if there is a collective of people who are saying, hey, this is what the standard is for dance programs across the country and across the world, in terms of them in their integrity of the dance program. I think if they understand that we're together as a group of professionals, and that it's important for that dance program to maintain the integrity of that program by continuing to have live music for dance. I don't know if I made that clear or not, but I do know that, and it's pretty emotional for me because the letters that Alan and Larry wrote for me were phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal. So that I know that if there is this credibility that we have as an organization, I think there's strength in that, you know. And for me, it's, you know, you guys are my species, you know.
yeah, I was, you know, back in, gosh, early 90s, or maybe I met a musician, Ron George, who was a member of the guild for a while. And he came to play for us at the High School of the Arts, which was adjunct to the university, the Cal State LA. And we got along really well. We became friends. And he kept telling me I should join the guild. And I had the same attitude that most people have when I mention it. But then I went to the Helsinki You know, my first meeting was in Helsinki, and it's like, it's like you're my people. So, that aspect of it, if the name change can maybe remedy that somehow, and the simplifying of it with I like Bill's idea of putting the full name in it as well, but having our banner, our Wikipedia, search engine name simplified, then that's great. Because I think a lot of musicians would at least be willing to join, and maybe show up once in a while if they knew.
Yeah. And Norman, with that, and Suzanne, I've asked the musicians here. I'm very, very fortunate. The Houston Valley has a huge, compared to, I don't know, probably other places. We feel isolated as usually playing for where we are. That there aren't many of us, and so it's especially here. I have a pretty large team, and I asked them. I said, what would you benefit? What would you want? And sometimes it's maybe access to more music, but I'm like, we could help. Maybe, that's one of our projects we've talked about is, maybe we can make.
This is something that we need to mention also. The last thing.
But I said, there's got to be something more. There's Facebook groups where people are exchanging music all the time. And I think, to what Suzanne said, I said, one, it is the community. It's talking to people. It's that real, the more personable exchange. And I know for the musicians here to watch other people play and learn from that and to share, like if it was something they could just use their own cell phone and just record and interact in that type of way, I think they'd really jump on board. I love academia, but I know there's a lot of people that they're not, that's not what maybe they're as comfortable with, but I think they would interact more with other projects we could offer.
Well, and we might look at organizations like Music Teachers National Association, MTNA, and the National Dance Education Organization, because they offer things in their membership for, especially NDEO offers, what am I trying to say? Advocates for academia, K through 12, public education and studios. And it's very important to them to provide some sort of service or activities for all of these groups. So I can look into that because I was a member of NDEO for a very long time and MTNA, and see what kind of things they are doing that appeals to people who, because MTNA particularly is an organization primarily of piano teachers that aren't associated with academia.
Music teachers? How is it called? Music teachers?
MTNA, Music Teachers National Association. And they actually have, I believe they have a training program, an educational component, and they have competitions for all instruments every year. And there's at the local level, regional and national. And NDEO doesn't have competitions. They have a training program for studio teachers to get credentials. But they advocate in Washington, D.C. Now, we're not going to be able to do that. But I think what Tom was saying about us being able to advocate for people is an important aspect of our work that we could offer.
Folks, I gotta go. It's been a pleasure seeing all of you.
Great to see you, David.
Good to see you, David.
Yeah, the last thing that I wanted to comment is about making a library. And Juan Mata is very motivated with this, and Suzanne also, you have tons of so yeah, I think it's something that we can try to do, even if it's crazy, because to make a library is like, how do you organize? So
well, maybe Juan and I could be a little little committee that talks about that when I come to Scotland.
Yeah.
We talked about, you know, can we beef up our library that we have online to offer, but also can we make maybe a more user-friendly way? And I know the concern is copyright. I don't know how, you know, would that be part of someone's responsibility to make sure we're not,
We will
you know,
we will start with the classical that has not copyright.
yeah.
We will start from there.
Right.
Yeah, something we offer that's concrete and it's, you know, on the website. And then do we have another place that is for sharing? Or do we leave that alone? And, you know, that's more of, you know, there's places right now that already do that, like the Facebook groups, but yeah, the sharing thing, that's where, you know, we want to be supportive of people who are writing for dance, you know, and honor their work. And we want to promote their work. We don't want to create a situation where people feel undermined in that situation.
Okay. Okay, good. I think we need to finish here, right?
Yeah.
It's been a long meeting. Okay, we will send an email with all of this information and the recording of the meeting so other people can see it. And nothing else, no, Bill?
No, it's good to see everyone, even for a little bit. Let's
Alexis.
do it again sometime soon.
Yeah. Yeah, we made it kind of semi-often at the beginning of COVID, and I've missed the meetings.
Yeah. Last thing that I wanted to say is that when we had a conference in 2021 in the fall, I was so surprised positively, like how many people were contacting to each other after the conference, you know, like, and then I realized, okay, we have to meet more often, because when we meet, things happen, like now, you know, we're speaking and now I will be thinking what Susan say, what, you know, it's like, everyone is like, what, this is important. Oh, what should I do? Or what, you know? So I would like maybe after the summer, because now is the conference, thousand of things, maybe to start to make like, how do you say group jobs? No, grupos de trabajo, work team. I don't know. Like try to make a calendar, like for example, even for fun, you know, like have one meeting per month, you know, to just speak about our problems, and another meeting speaking about the library, another meeting speaking about goals, you know, like, but have like subjects, because we can see that every subject is like, we want to speak hours about every subject. So try to make a calendar, so we have like a planning. That's my dream, let's see. And then have like work teams, like, okay, maybe Susan and Juan and another person are working on the library, and you know that you have one meeting every month, for example. And then I have a meeting with Jeff and with Bill speaking about the YouTube channel, you know, and things like this, you know. Try to meet more often in small groups, so there is like an activity.
I like that a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
So let's try to do something like this, a calendar, or I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Step by step. Okay, cool.
Okay,
Cool. Thank you, everyone.
Sounds good.
bye.
Good to see you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.